Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super pleased to have this time all together. So it's the last edition of the Smart or Expert Committee, so 2025. It has been a pleasure to exchange all together all this year. We are preparing something for next year. It's not ready yet, but of course we will we'll tell you when everything will be fixed, how we are envisioning what will be the expert committee next year. It will try to have more concrete results, implication, and so we are working in this way, and we'll have soon something to propose. We'll start the conversation, so we'll do it in English, if that's fine. I apologize for mine, because sometimes I have a lack of vocabulary, but anyway, I will try also on my side. So the idea of this expert committee is, let's say, to conclude a bit all our discussion of the year and also of the past year, and I would like all of you to have the opportunity to tell a word about your wishes, how you feel this new market that is arriving right now, what could be the opportunity, what could be the also the threat, because there is some, and how you see the future. So maybe the first topic I would like to exchange quite briefly, but you saw, of course, that now we were discussing of this since quite a long time about smart eyewear. Okay, it will arrive. It was something like Chimera or something like that, but now it's there. It's really there. So it's the market, thanks to Ray-Ban Meta, has been open. You have quite a lot of competitors, new ideas, new startups that are also entering this market, and this turns to be something really serious. And so if we look back to 10 years ago and in front of us in 5 years, who wants to start and say, okay, what could you conclude and what are you expecting regarding this business, this smart eyewear? If we look at the first Google Glass, the promises, of course, a lot of promises were not there. But now, how do you see the future? Maybe I will ask you, Valérie, the first question.
Okay, thank you for being the first. No pressure. What can I say? So, yeah, there are a lot of smart glasses out there. Many models have come up after, let's say, a year ago, the announcement of Ray-Ban Meta, demonstrating there was a market for smart eyewear that could just lead to consequent sales and could really interest a lot of new manufacturers or new concept design comers or people who have an idea of how to use the tech. Now that we are getting more and more models, though, what I would like the manufacturers to do is to think about usage, because it's important as well that people understand what they're going to do with it. And what I start to see now, it's newcomers saying, yeah, my camera is 16 megapixel, mine is 18 megapixel, and I have 4 microphones, I have 5 microphones. And I think for the user, all this doesn't mean anything. We are not at a stage where they can really evaluate and compare the technologies to the extent that they would choose one model over the other. And I would be very pleased to see more usage-oriented kind of products, especially the ones that are streamlined, and not the ones that are designed for sports or for disabilities, or those ones they have built their product backwards, which should always be done. You know, you have a problem, you're answering a problem. But there are tons of products out there now that are coming that are just finally probably the product that everybody's going to wear tomorrow, because there is no screen, but you have the camera, the headphone, you can talk to your AI, you can analyze the world around you and make some different kind of action. But I think most of the people, they absolutely have no idea. And we have to talk about usage, about user benefits, about what you can really do with it. And there are things that can be done, obviously. But it's not about technology anymore. It's about really benefit for the users.
Yeah, well, what are we saying about this? We've been talking about this for the last 10 years. So where are we going? I think 2026 will be really booming with eyewear, smart eyewear. I think it's going to be like 100 new models or brands on the market. And it's going so fast now. So I really, really hope that the classic eyewear industry is grasping this and picking up pace, because this is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree. I think that you are one of the pioneer of smart eyewear, because there is many, many years that you're working on it. And so I think that you are evaluating really properly what's happening and what are the future and near challenges. You're right. Yeah, how, in fact, in terms of, you talked a lot about usage, Valerie, and I think that you're right. This is the main case. If we could make a parallel with the smartwatch market, we saw that, in fact, at first, they were trying to do a lot of different things, and in the end, it converged to, let's say, a health monitoring. And fortunately, in fact, eyewear is at the center of, will be the future center probably of the health monitoring, and also, you could manage a prescription, could manage the hair. So how you can see, in terms at first of benefit for the health, the rising of smart eyewear? Do you think that it will improve health for the consumer, and in parallel the expertise of the optician? How you can see that? And at a second point, I would love to also hear what are your concerns about also regarding the health, to bring such kind of technology on the end, in front of the eyes, etc. And then you would like to, yeah.
I can tell you from speaking to academics who look after the future of optics and optometry that nobody knows anything about smart eyewear. And I'd like to know who is going to support the educators in giving them the knowledge to transfer to the future opticians and optometrists to be able to deal with this sector. You've said there's 100 new products coming next year. Okay, people are probably going to buy those online, but people are also going to go into their optician and say, this thing's not working. It's, can you adjust it? Can you make it fit? All those things, and nobody is ready for that. So where is the link between the people who are producing these products and actually the opticians and the optometrists who are out there, who actually may be bypassed by this? So it's going to impact seriously on their business unless they are let in, and they have to be trained to be able to cope with this. So speaking to people and looking at their curricula for the next 4, 5, 6 years, this is not on their radar, and somebody needs to put it on their radar. I also have some serious concerns about health, visual health. And I'm going to pass over to my colleague Beaky in a minute to speak a little bit about visual health, because I know that there's been very few studies done on the impact of looking out of these devices and seeing all sorts of things that are going to come up on a screen. And also the distractions that can produce when you're doing things like driving. Who's responsible for when these spectacles suddenly become a distraction and somebody is killed on a road? So where is the responsibility, and who's looking after that? So I've heard nobody talk about that really, and there's been no studies done there either. Beaky, do you want to say anything?
Thank you, Elaine. I think you summarized that very well. I'm a big tech fan. I think it's AI. I'm definitely not against it, but as a healthcare professional, I'm worried a little bit about my patients, about the data, the responsibility, exactly. But I just actually have one question for you. Do you have a healthcare professional on your ad board? Do you get any advice from your advisory boards, from all the companies that you represent, to get some information about visual perception, binocular vision, and all the effect that that has on the way that people go about in their life?
I think we're part of a experiment right now. Very much like social. It's a human experiment. It's very much like social media 10 years ago. Everybody's excited. We want this, but we don't know really what the impact will be. And that's what you're referring to, I believe. And there's not really a governing body yet. And I think we're a part of an exciting experiment that can go any way. And in my view, the solution is in thinking more in ecosystems. Like you have the tech players, you have the fashion players, you have the opticians, and then you have the medical providers. And they're all in silos right now, except for a few partnerships that are taking place, like Google with Warby Parker. But I think we'll see more and more of those ecosystems being formed between all the relevant players. And that's the experiment that today we're all part of. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think it's the reality.
But do customers know they're guinea pigs? No, they don't. And so when smoking was launched 50 years ago, whatever, and they told them cigarettes were really good to calm stress, and it's really cool to have a cigarette in your hand, and today it's the biggest killer. How are we going to... That was an eco-experiment as well. Nobody was told that it would become a biggest killer within 50 years.
Felix, do you want to add something? Because I think that you have a lot of insight also regarding vision and of course the health. And do you have something to share about that?
Well, I think that from industry perspective, we want to see this from different angles when it comes to providing smartness into your life, so to speak. And when it comes to eyewear, we want to have a clear differentiation between what is a smart frame that is providing you with some features that would be welcome, and future will tell what kind of features will be really acceptable and embraced by the end consumers, and what are kind of nice gimmicks that will pass by in 6 months. And the second element, which is even more important for us as a lens company, so to speak, is all those related to the lens per se. So we have smart lenses that, for instance, and also abounding on what Elaine was telling, those lenses may have some level of intrusion into your life that can create some problems, and not just binocular problems or monocular problems, but also problems with interaction with the world by projecting some elements. And I truly believe that head-up displays, as an example, will be here to stay. So let's talk about it in 3 years from now, and I can tell you, I can bet that head-up displays will be here to stay, because they are providing right accessible information. Where we put the information on the lens, it's another story, on which direction of your sight and etc. But this will be here to stay. But will create some questions and some problems. And third is the information that can be taken from your eyes with eye tracking and so on, because that can also really add a lot of value into understanding how we behave, and will help the industry a lot into develop new products, a new way of providing solutions to the patients. We really want to see into those three angles, and And also one important element on our side is, what will be the role of the eye care professionals, of the opticians? Are we here to what? Are we here to lead or to be led? Shall we hand over the entire business to the high-tech companies? And how we are going to interact with that? Because ultimately, your vision, the glasses that you're having in your head, the main reason for them is to provide you a good visual performance, a good visual experience. And anything that is intrusive to that has to be carefully analyzed. And I believe that those elements probably will be discarded in the let's say, mid-term future. What I have also seen is that we've been talking about smart eyewear, and I remember, being with you, being with Mike, talking many times, and so excited about that. But it was kind of having a incubation process where we could really see just a little coming. I truly believe that now it's going to be the explosion of that, because we're having several things all together. So one thing is that features are getting better. Second, miniaturization of the components are helping to hide the components into a frame which will not look bulky. And this is one of the great breaks of this industry. So, sorry, probably I was touching too many points right now.
No, I think we could discuss about different points after, but this is, of course, I totally agree with what you are saying with regarding head-up display, regarding the distribution also, and the role that the opticians, and let's say that all the optical world will have or not in this adoption process. And I think this is a crucial question to discuss, because, I think that today, I agree with you. You are going to the opticians, you buy a frame because you have a visual benefit, you have a disease, and then if your optician is good enough, you go out and you see the reality perfectly. This is absolutely magic. But tomorrow, in fact, maybe the reason why you will buy a frame will be totally different functionality, and the prescription will be just an option. And so the reason to buy needs to be related to the skills of the optician still. Otherwise, the opticians won't be part of the game, I think. But health, and this is where maybe our discussion are important, and the way that we will put the result of this discussion to the instance is even more important, is to say that, okay, there is healthy implication, as we mentioned. My question initially was the benefit and the dream and everything regarding the functionality, and also the threat. In fact, we are just there talking about what could be an issue, and there is many things to discuss about that, but there is also big opportunities, I think, for the opticians with new skills, talking about health in generic. So the audio, it's already the case with audio prosthesis, for example, but today with a frame that has, it's more a head rather than a prosthesis, then opticians could have some frame that will help also hear disease. So they are at the center of the global sense that are located in the head, if we, not the nose, but maybe that could come tomorrow. So this is also an opportunity, and this is a benefit. Maybe do you want to add something, Mika, on this? Because you are working with a lot of algorithm, you are able to monitor a lot of things related to health, and so how you can see the health benefit of smart eyewear. Talking just about benefit, and
I can try to say a few things about what could be huge possibilities with this technology, and that is actually to monitor your body from a totally different level. So just say that the smartwatch measures things on your wrist, but that's a really bad place to measure health. But up here, as Sebastian said, is a huge benefit for measuring health applications. if you can measure it. So the benefits is that the sensors are here, you can measure it here, but then comes the question, okay, is this sensor good enough? Does it measure this value as good as it should? And there's a lot of questions there, of course, but you can measure lots of things here. And with the new AI technology, we can have, insights at a totally different level. But I should say some of the things that scares me also is how to present this to an end consumer. Because when it's coming like 100 different new eyewear, they're all different functionalities. So how are we supposed to talk to the end consumer? And perhaps that's more your area, standing in a shop. It's like, this eyewear has audio, but no health functionality. Okay. This has a visual, but no audio. Okay. For the end consumer to try to, we have apples and pears. And also the social acceptance. We haven't come so close to that. I mean, is it okay to monitor your total health? Where does that data go? Is it okay to film? Is it okay to have a microphone? I mean, there's so many things that are not clear.
But do these products that are coming out next year already have the microphones and all that kind of thing in them? And we're asking this question after all those products are coming to market, when maybe we should have been asking them before?
Sure, but there are no regulations, right? That's the problem. So anyone can invent this and to ship them out without regulations.
Shouldn't there be kind of a social responsibility to think about those things, even if there are no regulations?
I think you're right, totally right. No, so there are one thing that is, in my opinion, important for this kind of research and studies side, but as well for the opticians' opportunity side. The fact is that out of the 100 he was mentioning, 98 are going to be released without a screen. So that means at this stage, a vast majority of the product coming up, they just have a microphone and, some basic functionality and camera, more or less. So I think from this perspective, we can make some studies, but the big challenge is going to be the next one. So from those perspectives, it's good. It's good from one side because we know it. We know it's going to come. We are, before it becomes really a mass production of products with screens, and we can start the studies right now because there are still products on the market that are available, like the one provided with a heads-up display, even realities, or even spectacles from Snapchat with really full-color displays coming up as well. So we have some random products from which we can start the studies, and that's really interesting and to start it now. Now to figure out who's going to do the studies and who's going to pay for it, I think it's a discussion we should have all together because there are probably, kind of leads here and then from Europe, for example, academics that can get together and finding, the proper fundings to make. But I think it's just the right time because the screens are going to be different.
I wonder what you mean with the studies, because if there is no regulation, the outcome of the studies it can go anywhere.
It can, but we have to start somewhere. And when I was working previously at a manufacturing company, and they released smart glasses in 2011. So it was very early. Binocular glasses with screens. And because they were Japanese, they went to an external university, totally independent, and they said, we're going to release a product like that. We anticipate that the customer may fear about, what impact will it have on my eyes and how. So they led a full study, before the launch of the product, by initiative of the manufacturer, and there was no regulation. but they did something good that could explain that it's like watching TV from 4 meters away, and it has the same danger than watching TV 5 hours in a row and everything, and it was properly done. So it can be done again. I mean, fundamentally, every manufacturer should do that.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
even before regulations appear, because there will be a framework. So from this kind of glasses with screen perspective, I think it's necessary, it should happen, and let's see how. But what I was saying again is 98% probably of the product will be released without screen. And coming back to the optician opportunity, I think it's an opportunity because they are not so complicated. So back to what you were saying, Hélène, there is a lot of training to be done, lot of explanation to be given from schools. Optical schools should all have something to be explained during the course of the study to explain what is smart eyewear, the difference between the one we are going to sell and the one that will come tomorrow. And maybe we have a role to play in this as well, because we are a group that are pretty knowledgeable about the matter with all the limitations and boundaries. But it's an opportunity, because again, the glass itself can still be provided by the opticians, and it's about the frame. And I think the manufacturers that are smart today, they are just building frames and smart glasses where the glass itself can be still managed by opticians, because it's a medical, kind of system. Because people like me, they still go to their optician. Even if you work in tech, you go to your optician because you want to see properly when you go out. And fundamentally, even me, I'm not really comfortable buying from the other side of the world a pair of glasses that I will wear every day just because it's smart. I want to be ensured that I can swap it if needed, or I can go back to someone who can explain properly. So yeah, we have something to do about training and giving the tools so that they can make it happen.
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning previously that on one side you have the smart frames where still the optician or the optometrist has a lot to do there, because at the end of the day you have to adapt the lenses. Even you can mount the lenses in your own lab, where for the other smart glasses that have smart lenses in, basically the role of the optometrist will be to certify or verify that the prescription is correct, because they will not be able to touch the lenses. If you have head-up displays, if you have electrochromics, if you have, you name it, and there are other features that can be included and are included already in the lens, there's not much that an optometrist can do, but just certify that the prescription, yeah, it's there. Or the electronic progressive lenses, whatever, so with liquid crystal. There's not much you can do. Yeah? And interesting also what you were mentioning about the studies of the universities and so on. We are now really centuries ahead of those times where the universities were, let's say, the source of the creation. Now it's the other way around. The universities are always some years behind what is really happening, and they're just to train students on what was already released years ago, and that's a fact. And I've been giving conferences in the university about things that we were already developing 3, 4, 5 years ago. So,
yeah, if I could add something, Felix, because I fully agree with you. Personally, I was trained as an optician 30 years ago, so quite a long time. And I have to say that training right now is not so different than the one that I received 30 years ago. Even if the world evolved so far and so fast, and now it will move even faster. And in fact, the big issue is, I agree with you, Valérie, that the training needs to be re-give to the young opticians. But the issue is that it has to be done before the training, to know what to tell, to build a program. And this will take quite a long time. So that means that, according to me, for the next decade, for the optician, they will need to be trained by themselves. Because the real training certify with AI, with the new skills, etc., won't come before, because it will take years to build a program, and then it will take other years to train the optician before they will be in the market, and frankly speaking, will be quite late. So, yeah, we have to start now. But I think that the opticians that are interested in having such kind of product into their shop, and I think that they need to be interested in, they will need to train themselves, and also to approach the company, and maybe it's the company that needs to make some proper training to how to use their product, how the opticians could tune it, what are the limitations, how to detect mental disease to use such kind of stuff. Same as a smartphone, because we'll have such kind of disease, and opticians will be at the center of that. So all this training before few years, maybe 5, not 10. Yeah, let's be optimistic, but they will need to be trained by themselves.
The optician or the optometrist are very good at refraction, right? A refraction is done at a certain distance from the eye, but what we're really doing is we're trying to make a clear image on the retina, right, for visual perception. But I'm wondering, with these smart glasses, and I'm talking about the smart lenses, there is another level of the refraction, of the prescription, that we don't have access to. We don't know how the patient is going to perceive the images, even though we might do a very good refraction and we know the lens prescription, but we may need something else in addition for the perception to be relaxed for the patient, right? Visual comfort is not the same as seeing clearly. And so my question then also is, who is responsible for this? Because if I do a very good refraction and the patient can see clear at distance and near and intermediate, but with these smart lenses, it creates some sort of visual discomfort. Is that now my mistake? And am I now responsible for that prescription? Or is there something else that we need training, like what you just mentioned, Sebastian? I think it is more complex. That's why I was asking, is there a healthcare professional or eye care professional on your advisory boards to help you with visual perception, not just on vision?
So, very quick, just to abandon what you're saying, just think about 40 years ago. So 40 years ago or 50 years ago, it was when progressive lenses were starting to boom and so on. We all discovered, and that was not made by the lens suppliers, it was the optometrists. We just discovered that, oh, by the way, myopes -2, they don't get well with progressive lenses. Why? Yeah, because they remove their glasses and they see everything without the glasses, and we're restricting their visual field. So we were learning by doing. So I think that the same will happen with the smart lenses, right? That we will just be the ones to lobby with clinical authorities, also to say, okay, these are the limits of this product. We can be responsible for this. We cannot be responsible for that, because, or basically for those kind of patients or for those kind of people with binocular problems or whatsoever, they won't be able to adapt to that particular product. I've been testing specifically a part of eyewear with binocular waveguide technology. For me, my binocularity is perfect, no problem. I have no problem. Yeah, okay, a little bit presbyopia that comes with age, sorry. But apart from that, my vision is good. I had no problem. I was reading my teleprompter here while talking to my wife, and she said, oh, honey, yeah, you look smart now. You don't need to read anything. I was reading everything in my lenses. My friend next to me, he had a binocular problem. After 30 seconds, he said, Felix, I can't. My eyes are going all over the place. So we should be the ones to monitor that.
I think, Felix, what you're describing is the silos that we're now in. We need more ecosystems, more partnerships between the universities, between the medical providers. And I think what's becoming clearer and clearer is that the role of the optician will be vital, in my view. You'll have online sales, but I think if you have an advanced pair of smart glasses that you pay a lot of money for, you want them to function well, you want them to be desirable, and I think recent studies have shown that the single most deciding factor to go for a purchase of smart glasses will be the comfort and the fit. It's a study you shared, Felix, remember? And comfort and fit is addressed by the optician. You know, it's something, especially the fitting of the lenses, the fitting of the waveguides, that gives you comfort. And so more and more that will become increasingly important. And luckily we'll have all sorts of nifty technology of doing remote fitting, remote sizing, you know, where frames will be customized to you. I'm a firm believer in the long run there, because now it's V1. All the companies are bringing out their V1, which is a couple of sizes, a couple of designs. But you'll see an explosion of SKUs, each with their own color, whether it be bright pink or blue, hybrids, full 3Ds, you know, you name it. And that is the ecosystem that's being generated and yeah, we're part of this experiment.
I just would like to thank Felix to remind us the story about the progressive lenses. Because if you remember well, when Maintenaz launched the progressive lenses, he has decided that the near vision would be 18mm below. He has not decided. He made a huge study and he has done thousands of tests, and he thought that 18mm was the best, and for near vision 2.5mm inside, and that was it. Of course, it works with most of the patients, but not with all. And you are right when you say, where are we going to place the screen? I'm sure that they have done many studies, and we do not even know if they will support it. And we can put many studies. I remember just one last story when Sony launched the Walkman. They made a study because people were complaining about hearing loss. And they made a study and said, look, you put 150 dB, 1 hour, and then during one day you see, yeah, there is a big loss. But 1 week later, it's fine. So Sony said there is no problem. You see, people can use it. Except that this young generation, when they arrive at 50 years old, they were using hearing aids. So you're right, we need to be careful about that aspect, but you're also right, because 97% of the smart glasses are without screen. In fact, you have three different types. You have the microphone and audio, then you have the camera, and then the last one is with smart screen. And I think that this is not the main category so far, at least not yet, and they will have several challenges other than the keynote to arrive to launch it. So perhaps we should not be concentrated only on that aspect. We have other aspects such as privacy, and it should be better to be concentrated on that. We just know one thing: we cannot stop that. We know that we all know that EssilorLuxottica, Ray-Ban Meta, from the first 6 months, 2024 and 2025, it was 300% increase. And the real question is, if we are talking about eye care professional, what about their business? We can imagine that within 3-4 years, 15% of the eyewear are going to be smart eyewear. I'm not talking about screen. Once more, I'm talking about regular with audio and with some camera. So, do they want to be in the part of the game or not? I think they should be, because we need to control the lenses, even without screen. I think that we need to control it. They must accept that the margin is not going to be the same as regular eyewear. Usually, it's roughly around 30%, and this is the maximum. But the customer will want that. So either it's completely deregulated if we decided we don't do it. So we try to regulate that market, and it needs to be done with eye care professional.
I think you just mentioned one specific point that I care a lot about. So it's something that seems so little in the overall discussion of smart glasses. It's an AI question. I think it's important as well that people realize, and I think they do realize when they use their computer and smartphone, that their data are shared with the providers they are using. So if I use Facebook, I'm happy to share my data with Meta. It's normal, it's the way, because I know, I'm aware. With the smart glasses, it's going to be the same. So Ray-Ban Meta means that all your data is sent to Meta. It's not a problem. It's important that you realize that, because you have a small camera here that will just look at the surroundings at most of the time and can send as well what you are looking at to your provider. Tomorrow it's going to be Apple AI, and all the data will go to Apple, and Google will go with Gemini, and that's how it's going to happen. But I think it's important that people understand that, because AI is a massive subject. It's a massive subject for pretty much any industry. And for us, it's going to be one challenge as well to make sure that people are aware that if they opt for Apple AI, they will give all their data to Apple, even what they are looking at many, many times in the day, at home, in front of your family or kids, whatever it could be, making sure they understand where it's sent, when it's retained, and as well making sure that they can go for other options. Say, no, I want to go for Mistral because Mistral is French and I want to have a sovereign solution. But those are going to be the options they're going to have, and I think it's extremely important that they are aware of that, because we are bringing a new way as well of providing AI information to providers.
Yes, I was listening to you, and I realized that there is a lot of an issue of health, an issue of privacy. I think that there is another issue of magnetic waves, because as you know, with your phones there already is an issue with magnetic waves. And what I what I ask to myself, but what is the usage? You were talking about communication to communicate on usage, but I think because before communicating, thinking to this usage, what is the usage of this kind of device? I after 2 years with you, I don't really realize what is the usage of this kind of device. Expect for disabilities or this kind of thing. But I think that is like the watch, the Apple Watch or something like that. It's a gadget, something more, but not very used. And I am the planet voice, and for the planet it is really an important damage, really, because you are using rare materials, terre rare. I don't know the name in English, terre rare. You are using energy. You are. What are you doing with the smart glasses at the end of life? We don't know. Is it possible to separate different parts and recycling it? I don't know. So for me, that's sorry. I'm sure that you are very well intended. Vous avez de bonnes intentions. Good intention, merci. I'm sure that you have good intentions to make people more happy with this kind of device, but even this is do you think that really you will be more happy with some device on your eyes and without any contact with other people to discuss? I'm sure that you've already seen in the subway, everywhere is on the phone, and now with, you understand what I mean? So I'm little stressed. No, I'm very stressed by this kind of discussion. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe there is several topics. So on what you said, and of course this is super interesting. We just discussed this a bit earlier together. So at first, in terms of usage, I think that in a way the consumer already answered. That means that the Ray-Ban Meta, as soon as they implement AI inside, then consumer find it useful. And I have to say on my side that the more I implement AI in my work, that now I found it super useful to have AI that see exactly what I'm seeing, and so could give me some information. He's able to record a process of drawing or notes, and also record a conversation, make me a summary, and so there is a lot of usage thanks to AI, and to place AI inside an eyewear make a lot of sense. So I think that in terms of usage, as soon as AI is something that you use, then an eyewear with AI is something that is very natural. But it depends, of course. I think our usage, also probably our age, because the young generation, the way that they use also the camera to share on social media what they are doing and so on, for them it's super natural, and they found the usage there. So I think that I agree with you. We could see a lack of functionality, but there is some that are quite relevant if we would like to use it. I mean, this is the first point. The second point perhaps is also we are talking. We are a bit actors in this area. All of us, we are putting our hands into this, but there is some big company that have big plan, and I have to say that if all the big groups say that in a decade your smartphone will be replaced by a smart eyewear, it will take a bit of time. As we said, the screen are not ready yet. It's bulky, it's on. We need to see if there is some disease, but in the end, probably they will succeed. And if they succeed, we will also part of, because there is some consequences of replacing a smartphone by an eyewear. That means that you will have a new way to interact on the web, a new way to visit the web, a new way to write down email, a new way to interact with your digital object. And so everything will be thought with this purpose. So if you stay out, it's the same things are staying out of your smartphone today. The web today is more thought for your smartphone rather than on a regular screen. And so, we could be, we could warn, we could say to the instance, be careful of the health of implication and so on. But I think that it's also important to bring this rather than just saying that it's scary, so I stay apart. I think that we are in position to be actors, and this is exactly what we are doing right now, is to try to warn, because a full immersive frame is scary. You could live with a generative AI in a world that doesn't exist at all. In my world could be my own world, and Felix could have another one, and we never meet, really. So this is scary in terms of relationship. But a part of that, we could have also a big benefit, and I think that our duty, and probably the duty of opticians, is to say, okay, this way could have some benefit, this way is really tricky, and it's far better not to go there. But I think that it's the time to be really active. You would like to answer, Dominique?
No, my only question is, do you think all these things before putting it on the market?
So I think that the best approach for me, but I realize that it's not shared by everybody, but it's not because you are able to do something that you need to do it. This is, I think that this should be the first, the very first thing. But I have to say that I discussed with some genius engineer, and they made something great, and for them just to achieve it, it's just perfect, so we need to put it on the market. And this is a bit of danger. Maybe, I think, because I really admired the vision of Steve Jobs. For me, it was really a visionary. And I think that because he was still alive and well alive when the iPhone was launched, and I'm pretty sure that this guy that was really concerned by human being never expect how we will use this new invention. He invents something that is fantastic, but today, you say it, you look at the metro on the street, we are totally captive of this subject. And I think that was not expected at all. But now, we know. So, as we know, then we could help. And maybe I will arrive to the optician's role, skill. It will be to train the consumer when they will arrive in the same manner that they are trained. When you have a progressive lenses, you have an optician that explains you how to use it. Same. How will you use your smart glasses, with a screen or not a screen? As you mentioned, you have a choice which kind of AI you would like to power your frame. Is it Mistral? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Copilot? Whatever. But to explain you, that means that opticians need to scale up their skill and be there.
Sorry, I don't know if I can verbalize the question well enough, but I have the feeling that in the technology world, consumers are not led by education. How I believe consumers use technology is by putting it on the table and let them figure it out themselves. They will find the way they want to use it. We cannot educate them. If we start educating them, they're going to plug their ears and walk away. They have had 20, 30 years of experience of figuring it out themselves. Actually, I think even when technology is being tested on consumers, that's the way that it's done. Forgive me if I'm wrong, please correct me. But so I don't know how the healthcare professional can now start telling the consumer, this is how you should use it. They're not going to listen.
It's not exactly what I meant, but it's more to say that they are advisor, it's our duty. We need to explain, not you need to do this, but be careful, because there is also some danger. Like, we could say on a smoke bag, smoking kill you, okay, still smoking. Okay, but the young generation, the younger one, you're right. But why? Because we tell them that it's less dangerous, even if it's not true. Because, but on one point you warn them, on the other we are not warning them, and the consequence is that they're going where they feel that it's not dangerous, so they would like not to see.
But our role, beyond educating them, and of course, when you have a knowledge, you are obliged also to share that with the community, is also to find the solutions when new habits are created. For instance, for many, centuries, we were talking about far vision, near vision, intermediate vision. That's it. Today, it's obsolete. We don't have far vision, intermediate vision, near vision. We have now far, intermediate, near, and ultra near. Why? Because our reading distance, the Harman distance, 40 centimeters, 38, etc., it's back already. We're using our smartphones 25, 27. You cannot teach the population to move far away their smartphones. And I can tell you, there are apps to do that they can identify the distance, and they go to black when you are getting closer. They don't work. They don't work. They work technically, but consumers, they will switch it off. The thing is, how from our side, so specialists in the vision, can we cope with that, work with it, and redesign the procedures and the products to accommodate to the new needs that they have? Now they are much stronger convergence and also probably much higher need of addition. So educating them is good, but also we have to adapt ourselves to the growing needs they have.
No, you said everything. For me, the problem is not the device, because what you are doing with your smartphone, you will do with your glasses. So regulation is not a problem of product.
You mean it's the user that
The user must be aware, and for example, when you're using a social media like TikTok or
Instagram?
Instagram, you have to rule the social media, but not the product. You know?
No, sorry. That's capitalism at its best. That just means that you put out and you leave it to the humans to figure it out, and it's their responsibility. Is that what you're saying?
No. I wanted to say, government have to rule the social media display, the social media. Sorry for my bad English. Je pense que le problème, c'est il faut que les gouvernements régulent l'usage, les applications que les utilisateurs ont. Mais si ils vont avec la lunette, on utilisera les mêmes applications qu'avec le smartphone. Le problème, il bouge pas. C'est pas parce qu'on va.
Yeah, in fact, what Jean-Luc is saying, in fact, let's say that the weak point that we are talking about, it's already the case right now. In fact, it won't be new usage. It will be the same that we have on our smartphone, but placed on eyewear. I think that it's not. I don't 100% totally agree with this, because I think that to have camera in this area, maybe you will use it more because you will have more opportunity to share things easily, and so maybe that will push people to increase their usage of social media and so on. I think that I agree with you that in fact the let's say that the weak point is already there from far. We have already people that live in their platoon cave, just showing them through their filter, but never going outside, and so that already exists. That should be even worse in the future when you will be able to tune your universe. Yeah, it was.
Do you realize that issues that we already have, that like young people which are taking photos of young girls and putting it on the social media with your smart glasses? It will be much more important, because you cannot see that he's filming or not. I don't know how it works, but I imagine.
I totally get your point. But as we said, you can already do that with a smartphone, except that when I'm recording you or when I'm taking a video, you don't know it, because there is no light on my smartphone. On smart glasses you have. But okay. But anyway, one more time. We are just talking about the usage of audio. So we have one more time. We have 3 types of smart glasses. One with just ears and audio, so you can just record voice. And this is the major one. It costs €200, and this is what is the most sold. After, you have the one with the camera, where of course you can record, but you must have some manufacturer that don't put a light, but I've seen the Ray-Ban Meta, and I can, and you have a light. But when I record with my smartphone, there is no light, and you cannot know that I've recorded you. And you all have a smartphone. I mean, we all have a smartphone. The smart glasses is not going to change that. It's not going to change anything.
But I recall something, Jean-Philippe. That's true that today with all the smart cameras on eyewear, they have a tiny light. Fair enough. Years ago, I remember exactly the same with the smartphones when they were recording. They were having a small light telling that you were recording. Now, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the camera on your smartphone, I recall when you were taking a picture, it was mandatory to have a.
Mm-hmm.
It was. In Japan, it was mandatory. No, not anymore. I mean, it depends on where you buy your phone, but.
Yeah, so of course we need to have a regulation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately the regulation arrived late. In France we are just going to vote a law to not to let kids be on Snapchat or TikTok. And it arrived too late. But in fact you cannot ask the regulator to know exactly what will happen. So we need to keep all the regulation that has been done for smartphone, we need to adapt it for smart eyewear, for sure. Then we just have the problem of privacy, what you were talking, because the main thing is the data, but we have the same problem also with our smartphone. So I don't think, we all agree, on the ecological point of view, on the AI, on all the image analyzed on the cloud and the effect, we all agree that this should be controlled because it's a big damage for the planet. But we cannot forbid the sale of smart glasses, especially the basic one that we have, because you will always have a country that will sell it and people will buy it there.
Yeah.
So let's try to keep the control. Let's try to have the ECP to do their job well, to adapt the smart glasses, because it's better to do it in optical shop than letting Fnac or Darty doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how it works, it's never that the regulation come and then we get the green light to start selling something. Okay, it happens with myopia control lenses that in some countries they wait until you get the green light to commercialize because it's a medical device. Fair enough. But normally regulations are coming after the products are on the market. Always. And I live in the Netherlands, and now we have a huge, Netherlands is the country for bikes. Everybody knows, right? 15 million people, 30 million bikes. And 20% in the canals. But apart from that, now we have a huge problem, really huge problem. It will pop up very soon. With teenagers using the fat bikes. The black bikes, those small ones that you can drive up to 45 kilometers per hour. Yeah, and then, electric ones, huge problem. There's no regulation with that. The product is already on the market. Surely regulation will come, but never regulation is coming before unless you have a medical device. Yeah.
And should this be considered a medical device? My expertise is actually more contact lenses, and contact lenses are placed on the eye. It's supposed to be regulated, but you can buy them online without any prescription. And as healthcare practitioner or eye care practitioner, I'm the one responsible for when the patient has the red eye. Even though they didn't buy the contact lenses with me, even though I didn't tell, I'm already too late. My clinics are more full with patients that have problems than those that are coming to buy their contact lenses with me. This is, we should be able to learn from the smartphone, from the contact lenses, but we don't really. I love the conversation, by the way, but at the same time, I get a bit sad and I feel like a really old person, but I do because in a way, I hear what everybody says, but we're not actually doing it. We're not actually, going for regulation. We're just hoping that it kind of will work out, or that the government will come with some rule. But I don't know. We have all got some responsibility towards it, all of us.
I think we're looking at it from a European standpoint, regulate, 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 while the investment is coming from the US, where it's innovate, 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 and just pour money into it, hundreds of billions of dollars, and see what happens. I think that's what we're being live witnesses of.
It's exciting if you're on the innovation side, but it's not exciting to be on the other side, where I have to deal with the consumers, do the education for what? For free, and then deal with the visual perception, the vision, the complaints, really. But anyway, I wish you all good luck.
I would like to talk about a use case that is very nice. No, I mean, it's not but what I see from one of the very basic use case and that can be useful is subtitling capabilities of the glasses. So either if you don't have a screen, from the fact that you can talk to foreign people and get an automated translation. I've met a few students, foreign students living in France for little time, struggling so much with the language, having those glasses and saying, it changed my life. Now I can talk to people, I can exchange, because otherwise I never understood the French and I feel so excluded. And there were heavy users of the glasses, so I think this kind of usage is very nice. And with whatever the screen might be in the future, but I like the idea as well of subtitling in the theater, at the opera, seeing, I don't know, movies with original version and having proper subtitle that I can see wherever I sit in the cinema. I think those kind of usage, and of course for the people that are hard of hearing as well, can be really fantastic, so that they can see when they talk to you exactly what you're saying, or when they can access theater. You can understand that most of the people hard of hearing, they never go to the live theater, and most of the time their family are never going along. So sometimes they are kind of half-half solution provided by the theater, but one day with those kind of glasses they will be able to go to the theater at any time, because it will be subtitled all the time. So of course it's an example that I like, because I can see it already being in use. There is hope as well.
Yeah, and also, in fact, related to the what is an optician, and related to health, for all the people that have disease, so vision disease and hear disease, such kind of products are just amazing. Imagine that you have a very low vision, and you have, with generative AI, you have highlighted of dangerous area, of to guide you through your flat, or to find the object that, where is my socks? And you have a drive to it. And so, for example, this could be a life changer for those people, because they could stay autonomous rather than, So, in fact, that maybe we could conclude with that, I don't know, is that I'm pretty convinced that the opticians and the optical network has something to do with smart eyewear. The question is, we'll have thousands of different products, and the key is to choose the good ones where an optician is relevant. And so, of course, there is training, etc., but to choose products that are related to health and also to human being, because what you said is it's true. It's a real benefit for everybody. For entertainment, but for someone that has a hearing issue, you could have both a hearing aid with microphone and also a real-time translation. It could be a real benefit also. And so I agree with you. There is some great usage. The key is probably to make choice and to work on the product that
and claim that, okay, we are opticians, we are specialized in health, and so we manage this assortment on product and on other. And perhaps the solution is there. We arrive at the end of this discussion, and yeah, I really would like to thank you for all this year of discussion. It was it was fantastic to have you aboard and to learn all that we learned, all that I have learned, by the way. So as mentioned, next year the idea is to change slightly the format of this expert committee, but to make it last and to be more active and to be able not just to discuss between nice people that are already all convinced but not you are self-convinced. I am I think that I have a good positioning. You think too, and that means sometimes, not always, but that means sometimes. But I think that it's important to have a common voice and to bring it to the, let's say, the proper instance. And so this will be the goal. So warm thanks for all this year, all your time, because it's you give your time for free, your expertise, and I'm super proud to have this occasion to exchange with you. Thank you. Have a nice fair, and.